Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Cassandra Joan Butler. This is Cosmic Connections, your astrology for the week, and in tonight's case, the astrology for the next 20 years. So we do a little astrology, and then we go into some spiritual messages of which you all can partake in and can share. And we just kind of hang out for a little bit. So welcome to the Cosmic Connections, friends. So tonight we're going to talk about this week, of course. And I don't know, it's kind of like waiting on Godot, right? Waiting for the next major chapter in my life, in your life, in the world's life, evolution, with this ingress of Pluto tomorrow at 8:15, 8:13 actually, Eastern Daylight Time. And if you're an astrologer or interested in astrology, you've heard about this, and we all have our own feelings about it. But I'm feeling this, that in talking to people, and I love talking to people who don't know a thing about astrology, right? And they'll often reflect the energy in the room by their comments. And so just your everyday ordinary person who hasn't even looked at their sun sign, their moon sign, their rising sign will say, in the past couple of weeks, I feel this pending change in my life, and I don't know where I'm going with this. It doesn't feel positive or negative. It feels big though. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I mean, nothing's more profound and more life transformation than Pluto. And so we're going to touch on that tonight. And I'm going to give you some tidbits about where and how Pluto might revolutionize your life between now and 2044. It's even hard to say, 2044. And in some of the comments that, again, these are people who don't know anything about astrology and it's a foreign language, people feel almost a foreshadowing of doom or something catastrophic may happen. And I'm not talking, I'm talking abstract. And I think that's what Pluto does. It stirs up fear. Remember, we are ending a cycle that began in 2008, friends. 2008. 2008 was what? Say it with me, the housing crisis, the financial crisis. And that was a whole different era. That was so long ago. That's when Pluto made its first appearance into the sign of Capricorn. And so we're leaving this whole generational feeling of grappling and wrestling with authority, because that's what Capricorn is. Who has the authority of our lives? And now the symbol of Pluto moving into Aquarius is reminding us that we all have mutuality with each other. We all have mutual authority. We all have egalitarian, equal say in what's happening on the planet. You see, Aquarius, that's the sign it's moving into, is the symbol of each of us and all of us collectively. It's the collective. It's humanity. So this is a big shift. It is revolutionary, just like in 1777 until 1787-ish, right? We had a lot of revolutions on the planet then, right? The American, the French, the Haitian, the monarchy started to tumble down in the West, and reordering of consciousness towards a new way of running the world pre-industrial revolution. We're in another revolution now where some people call it the fourth revolution, the fourth technological revolution. So this is kind of a big night. I love sharing it with you tonight because we can muse about and reflect upon and ask for guidance. Please always ask for your own internal guidance as we start this new cycle that begins tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, we had this beautiful new moon in Aries. So I have a lot to say tonight. We're going to talk about the new moon in Aries. And of course, most people are aware it's the first of spring. And the spring equinox coincided with the new moon. So It's like this big mega change wherever Aries falls in your chart. So what's the commonality between Aries and Aquarius? In astrology, they say they sextile. They create a supportive, opportunistic aspect between these two signs. But both of them are about the definition of humanness, humanness, being human. Aries is the individual, and Aquarius is humanity. So one kind of unconscious reflection we may all be having is, what's the future of humanity? What's the future of my personal needs, my personal desires, as we combine these two this week? And yes, Pluto does stir up fear. I call Pluto the archetype of the Godfather, the intense, energetic master of the underworld that's always up to something and people aren't always aware of it. So that's what a Pluto transit's all about. It's very subtle, it's behind the scenes, and it's extremely powerful. So good evening, friends. Thank you for sharing, Christine. Hi, John. Okay, you're of course you're Aries. Of course your moon is in Aries, John. Hello, Angela. Sarah Williamson. Hello. I just want to do a little station identification. I'm doing this webcast from the Cosmic Intelligence Agency on the beautiful platform in Australia. So there's a lot of hardcore astrologers on that platform. And even if you're not a practicing astrologer, please give a strong, profound look at the wonderful offerings of the CIA. There's a gorgeous quarterly magazine called Time Lords, and you're all open to receiving a copy. All you have to do is ask. And it's a very great scholarship look at the science and art of astrology. Time Lords, it's a gift to you. Sign up for that and maybe look at the other offerings, including webinars and articles with astrologers across the globe. I'm 56, right? I wish I was 56. That was a while ago, but I'm aged 56. Good evening, Rosalind. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Paula. Good evening, everybody. Hi, Kimberlyn, Marcia, Janet, Ellie. Big hugs, you guys. Leslie. Good evening, Melody. Hello, Paula, Rebecca, Marianne. Great to see all of you. Big hugs, and thank you for saying hello. Joanne, I need your birth information, please, and perhaps a message or a text, my dear, because you won last week. So I'm going to give you a Lunar Lights for the month to enjoy. So I just need that information. Hi, Joni, Mary. Hello, Dr. D. Hi, Angela. So, friends, this is like a profound moment in time and space, and we all get to share it. And I was talking to someone today, and she was saying, I'm healthy. I shouldn't have any fear, but I'm afraid of my mortality. I'm afraid of dying. And remember, Pluto is the underworld god, also known as Hades, right? And she's as right as rain, but it's true. We may be reflecting our own mortality. Think about this, friends. If you're talking to me now, you probably remember 2008 with some clarity. All right. And when I project myself in the future to 2044 at the end of Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, I'm wondering, knock, knock, will I be here in this body? So there is that sense of wondering about our own mortality, because Pluto represents death and rebirth, and then we're going to be going through a very long cycle. Now, to be very clear and very specific, and astrologers love be specific, this is a foreshadowing in 2023, because Pluto's tiptoeing into the sign of Aquarius tomorrow only until June 10th. Then it retrogrades back into Capricorn and redoes all of its you do everything in a compartmentalization of the past since 2008, but it goes back into Capricorn and kind of clears up and cleans up that dialogue we have with who's in charge, who's the authority, who's the man, who's the boss, who's the king, right? Just like in 1777. Do I pay homage to King George? Remember that King George that the Americans fought against? Well, it's so interesting. This is just, we're in that same place, but we don't have these kings and queens so much in the infrastructure of the planet. We have other more subtle controllers, right? The oligarchs, the big corporations, the big elites. In some ways, you could say the rise of the nation states has been a little shaky in our generation. So it's going to be very interesting because remember this one thing as we look ahead for the next 20 years. Pluto's power, Aquarius is the people. Power to the people. The people take over. The people have power. Egalitarian, we're all in this together. So I love that. So tonight, when I go through each of your signs, I have a lot to offer you, right? We're going to talk about what to expect for the next month. That's the new moon in Aries, and what to expect for the next 20 years. Let's do that in just 20 minutes, right? I'll be talking about Pluto and Aquarius for literally the next 20 years. It's kind of my career goal, right? As long as I'm breathing, I'll be talking about Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. But for now, let's just bring in the PowerPoints. Okay. So I don't know why the bot made a musical symbol here for the new moon in Aries, but it is a song. Let's just sing a song of Aries. So it's the mermaid degree. This was taking place, of course, on Tuesday. We're in the new cycle. You Aries people, the Aries parts of your chart, make a wish, make a vision, because Aries is a fire sign. Fire signs are responsive to eyesight, clairvoyance, visualization. A couple just quick comments. I call it the mermaid degree because 0 degrees of Aries, new moon, which is the identical degree to the spring equinox, is the mermaid degree. It's the image and symbol of a woman rising from the ocean. A seal embraces her. And some of the esoteric interpretation of that is instinct meets feminine energy and beholds the mammal in both, right? So it's a very evolutionary type of degree. It's the first degree of our 360 degrees. In other words, the spring equinox is like New Year's Day. And then with the new moon on that, it's all suggesting this idea of evolving and blending the instinct of the animal, but still an animal that is a mammal, the seal, with the feminine, the gentle nurturer. So again, like any piece of art, look at these degrees through your own eyes. I use the interpretation of many wonderful Sabian symbols people like Mark Edmund Jones and Dane Rudhyar. That's from Dane Rudhyar's book. The amazing ability to create this new person, humanity. It's a humanitarian degree. The new moon was opposite Ceres. Ceres means the goddess of the grain. So for all of us, even if you are welcoming fall in Australia, right, wherever you may be on the planet, this new moon opposite Ceres is saying this to you. It's saying, hey, watch what you're eating. Take care of your diet. Nurture yourself differently. Anyone feeling that? So that's one of my questions of the week. Is anyone feeling they want to get back on track with how they're eating, when they're eating, what they're eating? I think this new moon is prodding us all. And also Psyche, the asteroid of psychic talents and skills and an interest in the psychic realm of the psyche itself, psychotherapists, counselors. That energy is trining or supporting Neptune, which is, I call it God's heart, the unconditional loving degree of Neptune. So we're feeling a little dreamy. That's another question of reflection for you. Are you feeling a little dreamy, a little kind of outside of normal reality in the past 48 hours with this new moon? And of course, we still have this beautiful healing stellium lineup of Vesta, Jupiter, and Chiron. very close to each other. Vesta is spiritual practices. Jupiter is expansion, Santa Claus. And Chiron is the wounded healer. You can't be breathing on this planet unless you carry some trauma or wounds. That's part of being alive. And this Aries conjunction is reminding us that we often don't readily develop compassion unless we've been in the dumps. So in other words, our wound gives us the wisdom to help others, the wounded healer. To be understanding of someone means to stand under them because you too have had problems. And so this is an opportunity for us all to reflect on that individualistic, I am, Aries part of your nature that has been curtailed, rejected, subdued, and yet in that disappointment, a fundamental disappointment within you, that's what gives you the compassion and patience to help another. So all that and more with this new moon. So that's what's happening for the month. Let's go through that, then we'll get to Pluto, okay? So if you're Aries, you want to start a new self, start a new agenda for yourself. Be bold, be brassy, be confident, Aries, or Aries rising. This is your second birthday on Tuesday. So celebrate you, dear Aries. For Taurus, celebrate and download a new way of being spiritual. Yeah, I mean, so maybe you've been doing the same old. Really craft it up, make it stronger, have a commitment to doing your spiritual work in a new way. For Gemini, have a new way of being with your friends. Be bold, be brassy, hey, we got to get together. Be a little pushy with your friends, right? That's for our beautiful Gemini or Gemini risers. For Cancer, it's all about your work in the outer world. And that work isn't necessarily a job. It could be volunteer work. It can be community service, whatever that might mean to you, Cancer. Be bold with your leadership skills. Don't be reluctant. Be brave and be bold and take the lead to help the world. For our Leo friends or Leo risers, this boldness, this new moon is activating your travel and your ability to communicate and or teach or write, to speak from your throat chakra with great authority and confidence. For Virgo or Virgo rising, wow, this new moon is asking you to tap into your deepest power centers. If you've had some tough times, go deep within and just dredge out all of your psychological and your spiritual power and be bold, be brave, Virgo, in that regard. And also take a look at your finances. For our Libras or Libra risers, this is all about you being bold and identifying who are your important closest friends, your BFFs. Take a new stab at the ability to relate in a new positive way with your closest confidants. For Scorpio, it's time for you to get in the gym and exercise and eat right and be right. For Sagittarius, it's time to have fun and play and be creative. For Capricorn, it's time to take a look at your home and your environment and say it's time to clean it. It's time to heal it. It's time to heal the relationships with your family and loved ones that you live with. For the Aquarius friends, this is just for the month now. This is the new moon. It's time to get very concise in the way you are managing your time. So that might mean some time management skills, a new date book, or a new app on your phone to organize yourself. For Pisces, it's time to take a look in the mirror, say, I'm great. Now pay me, please. All right. Just to be very clear on your self-worth and value. So that is for the month. And this is for the next 2 decades. The Pluto ingress. That's tomorrow morning. You know, most people know me, know that I'm not really a morning person, but in a little less than 12 hours from now, my commitment to you, even though my dogs might be barking and there might be hustling and rustling around my home, I'm going to do a little meditation with you. I'll find a way to do it somewhere. Yeah. Or maybe I could go into work really early. Ooh, that's my goal. I'm making this commitment to you. You will see my bright, shining, tired face with the bags underneath my eyes tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So I want to lead you all in a meditation because I'll be lonely. And I want to know that there's other people out there in the world that want to welcome the beautiful Pluto ingress. So we'll do this little thing tomorrow morning. That's 8 Eastern Daylight Time. It's that important that Pluto is making its ingress. It's tiptoeing into the sign of Aquarius. So I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, except to say I want to identify where it falls in your chart. The first thing that we're going to be realizing about this power generator, it's going to be making a square to the north and south nodes. So it's going to be making a statement. In other words, the past is the past, the future is the future. Say goodbye and move forward. This is the line in the sand, friends. Some of our old fears about security and about manipulation and control and them trying to control us, that's over. It's about us standing for each other. And all of us collectively are forming a power generator, just like during the times of the Revolutionary War. I'm not saying we're going to have a revolution. I'm saying it's a revolution of consciousness. It's also a revolution in the way that we're interacting with technology. We want to use technology and not have technology use us. I have a lot to say about that. My class tomorrow night, you're all invited, by the way. I do a class usually not every Thursday. I've been doing these classes for 30 years on Thursdays, but tomorrow night's class is going to be combining the new moon and the Pluto ingress, and you are invited. You just have to register online, and I go do through a deep dive with your own personal charts. This is just kind of like the icing on the proverbial cake. But in any case, so when we're looking at this this Pluto ingress, we're welcoming power to the people. But the first thing we'll be feeling is the sense of destiny, that my fears, my doubts, my emotions, my triumphs, and my losses since 2008, since Pluto's been in Capricorn, say goodbye. Because we have a whole new uncharted territory in our own personal lives to cultivate, at the very least. So Pluto is going to revolutionize you, Aries people, in terms of your social circles, in terms of who you love and who you hang out with. For the Taurus people, it's revolutionizing the next 20 years of what you're doing out there in the world. So you want a new career? State it tomorrow and going forward, and having the confidence to say, I want a new career, Mr. and Mrs. Taurus. For Gemini, it's all about you communicating your truth. It's all about you traveling. It's all about you writing that book. It's about you teaching from an authentic place. For Cancers or Cancer risers, this revolutionary Pluto ingress is asking you to go down deep and to trust your instincts and trust your intuition and your psychological and your spiritual, in some cases, your mediumistic power. For the Leos, this is the time to revolutionize who you are aligning with, your partners. Only be with the best and let go of the rest, Leos. For Virgo, it's a revolutionization of the way that you're taking care of yourself. No more cutting corners, Virgo or Virgo rising. If you know what to do, you got to get the sleep, you got to get the nutrition, you got to get the exercise. So that's for our Virgo friends. Take care of yourself in a new, more profound way. For the Libras or Libra risings, get out the happy dance. It's time for you to get creative and to have fun in your life. You've been always wanting to go to, I don't know, the Adirondacks or Hawaii or Timbuktu or wherever, but you can do it in the next 20 years. I promise you. It's time for Libras to unveil and unleash their creative muse. For Scorpio, you're going to revolutionize your family and where you're living and how you're living. Finally, Scorpio can have that clean house, right? or else. For Sagittarius, revolutionize the way you speak, the way you communicate, the way you are talking to yourself, and your time management. For Capricorn, revolutionize your money. You've always wanted to do something with your values, so you might give your money and your possessions away. That would be a revolutionary act, Capricorn, or make more money, or whatever financial power you want to instill. For our Aquarius, it's revolutionizing on every step of the way. This is going to be a big, big change for you, especially the early degrees of Aquarius will be feeling it quickly in the next 2 years. For Pisces, you're revolutionizing the way that you're connecting with the God of your understanding. You're going to be becoming a lot more deeply spiritual and deeply trusting of your intuition. Pisces are always so intuitive, but even more so in the next 20 years with Pluto just lighting up their intuition spiritual house. Thank you so much. So many of you have been sharing. Sharing is caring, and I often like to reciprocate by sharing the Lunar Lights Club material with you. So tonight's winner of the Lunar Lights thing is going to be Rose Chase. Rosie Chasey. Are you in here tonight? Yes, Rose Chase. So, honey, if just send me a little message or text, and I'll get that material out to you tonight. Big hello. Thank you for sharing, Carmen. I'll put your name into the basket. That's all you do, right? Just share. You get your name goes in the basket, and you get a Lunar Lights thing. What's a Lunar Lights thing? A Lunar Lights is a subscription service I offer to people, which gives you personal tools for each of you, which are written reports and videos detailing the new moon and the full moon. Thank you for sharing, Angela. Thank you all for being here, and gratitude to all of you for being here tonight. Let's do a little psychic stuff, right? A little spiritual stuff, a little mediumistic stuff. I keep on saying stuff. That is a very lazy way of me communicating. Forgive me. But remember, my communication house is not being activated today. It will be in June, though. So I'll talk more articulately in June. I'm just glad you're here. Dear God, please allow me to serve. Please allow my words be filled with love and light and truth, inspiration and healing. For the highest and for the best, as we align ourselves with the Holy Spirit. Amen. And so just be in the room, say you'd like to get a read, and I'll come to you or not. And it's all very random. My eyes are closed. And the person I'm coming to is Eugenia Brandes. Okay, Eugenia, just make sure you're still in the room. And I'll give you a little read, honey. So Eugenia, as I'm as I'm connecting with you, the first thing I'd like to say to you is that I feel that your name is your name for someone. Maybe your name for an uncle or a grandfather, Eugene. I'm not sure, but I'm getting that. And I'm getting someone from Spirit who wants to be recognized for you tonight. And I even if you weren't named for a grandfather, I'm coming in here with a grandfather for you. A grandfather who was extremely wise, extremely his head was in the book at all times. It was that grandpa. And he was very, sometimes introverted or quiet, but he always had something to say very profoundly when he was in the family's group. And as he's coming in, he's like offering you that type of peace to make more space for you to do your scholarship and your reading and your investigation is the word I'm using. I don't know, maybe he was an investigator. I'm not sure, but he's coming in and just trying to softly remind you that you have to make space for this, because there's a lot of people around you, Eugenia, that always need and want a piece of your advice. But he says you can't give unless you fill up your cup first. But he was like sharing a cup of something. I don't think it was alcohol. I think it was a cup of tea. But because he did live a good long life, and he took care of himself, and he practiced, we would say meditation, but he would call it just being in the silence. So I'll leave that with your, exactly. Does that make sense, darling? Yeah. I mean, meditation is, thank goodness, has gotten a lot of amazing interest and press over the past 20 years and more, probably like 40 years. But the old timers would just do that by sitting outside and on the porch and listening to the birds at dusk. That was exactly, thank you. That was exactly the type of energy I get with your grandfather. All right, so I leave that with God's blessings. Okay, our next read is with Susie Soverell. Susie Soverell. Are you here, darling? Susie Soverell. I'm with you. Are you still in the room? You're so welcome, Eugenia. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay, my dear. All right. As I'm tapping into your energy, it's almost like I want to skip. I want to move my body. I want to dance. I want to dance. I don't know if you do dancing professionally or you go to some gym and you do aerobic dancing. But this is that type of energy I'm getting with you, Susie. I'm getting that sense, that happy dance, that, and the word I'm getting is I'm finally free, but it's not from something or someone. I'm finally free from my fears. I don't know if that resonates with you, but that's what I'm getting. I'm finally free from worrying about what they all think about me. I'll start with that because you're dancing, and there's a song that came out many years ago, "Dance Like No One's Looking and Sing Like No One's Hearing." I don't know, but that's the type of energy I'm getting with you, Susie, that you've been working very diligently on your own self-love and self-acceptance. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes. Okay. The other things I want to say for you as we're moving with this ingress, I think it's going to be very profound. I think you've been preparing for it. I think you do astrology. I think that you are very sophisticated in your astrological techniques, is what I'm hearing. And so one of the wonderful things about doing astrology, we can read all the books we want, we can go to all the classes we want, but the best way that astrology teaches us is to get older. The older we get, the more we realize it really works. So I want to give that message to you, Susie, that you've been astonished in your studies at how profound the astrology is. And you're very excited about this Pluto ingress because it's going to touch in with your chart very profoundly as well. But it's going to help unleash your creativity that you've been keeping a little bit under a bushel basket for a while. And like I said, there's this freedom of expressing yourself for a while, but it's going to even percolate stronger by August of this year. So there might be some opportunity for you to express your wisdom. Again, back to the dance again, but celebrating your authentic self. Does this make sense? You let me know. Thank you, Rachel. Dance as though no one's watching. That's for our Susie. Okay, that makes sense for you. All right. And did you? Okay, your whole life you studied astrology. Isn't that beautiful? Because it works. There's no, and the astrology is often. Let me say a word about astrology and the ingress of Pluto going into Aquarius. By the way, most astrologers might agree that Aquarius is kind of like the godmother sign of astrology. And I think the reason for that is because astrology has this cosmic sense to it. And because Aquarius reminds us that we're all equal because we're made of the same stardust. And there's technique with astrology. There's a respect that's garnered and developed when we do astrology because we know that everyone's different, but they're all the same. And that's one of the messages of Aquarius. We're all different. We're all different. We're all unique. We're all unique snowflakes, unique fingerprints, but we're all the same. We're all human. And so that's what we celebrate in the next 20 years. All right. Okay, Susie, much love to all of you. And much love to each and every one of you. Try to join me in the morning at 8 o'clock. That's Eastern Daylight Time. And if not, do your own little ritual, do your little meditation. Welcome this revolutionary Pluto and Aquarius. There's nothing to fear, my dears, right? As long as there's planets and a universe and a solar system, there's cycles that go on and on and on. So many blessings. We'll see you next week. All right. And if you want more, a deeper dive, just check out my website and you can join me tomorrow night's class. Okay. And don't forget, Time Lords, Cosmic Intelligence Agency. Please get your wonderful publication of the Time Lords. Take care. See you next week.